Welcome to New Jersey HorrorCon. Welcome to Spaceballs, the reunion. We have the amazing cast of Spaceballs, George Wyner, Michael Winslow, and Felix Silla. Make some noise. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us so early on a Sunday morning. We are all diehard Spaceballs fans.
Yeah.
So I'll get right to it. I'll do a couple questions for everybody, and then after a bit, we'll go to the audience here. So this film is packed to the gills with classic jokes, classic characters, just in every scene.
And it has gills.
And it has gills. Who was the funniest on set when the camera stopped rolling?
I am.
Oh, bold claim.
Because we kept challenging him. What are you, Colonel Sanders? Chicken? No, sir!
I've never heard that before.
Very true.
Was that in the film?
Yeah.
You don't know your own films? Yes, it was.
Wasn't that
Your turn.
my turn?
Yes, sir.
I remember the funny guy was Mr.
Oh, that
Brooks.
guy, Mel.
Yeah. The short.
I forgot he was there.
Made the shorts be with me or with you, whatever, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I see your shorts is as big as mine.
Oh.
That's possible.
Wait a minute. That's a family show.
I think we're gonna cause trouble.
You keep that microphone.
Okay.
So, let's wake up the room. Everybody doing photos on the other side? What's up, y'all? Y'all in booth number 1 and 2?
Be
Booth
right up.
1 and 2, what's up, y'all? Booth 1.
Take my picture. Booth number 2, Charlie Sheen.
What is that?
Tiger blood.
Oh my God! Somebody cut the power to Carmen Electra. Nobody paid the bill. Oh my God!
All right, I think we know who the funniest was on set now.
Me? No, I was not. It was Barf. No, Barf. John Candy.
Oh, John
Yeah,
Candy,
remember,
the amazing John Candy.
Remember the day we was dragging a trunk on the middle of the desert in Arizona?
Yeah, it was
It wa-
before we combed it. Yes.
Yeah, all of a sudden he stopped. We were filming. All of a sudden he stopped. He started screaming. He said, "God damn, look what I'm doing on my birthday. Dragging a freaking trunk in the middle of Juma, Arizona." You know, he stopped. And what's his name? Mr. Mel Blank says, whatever, Brooks says, "What the hell's going on with you?" "Yeah, it's my birthday. Look what I'm doing on my freaking birthday. Dragging a trunk." And did you comb it? Did you find it?
Yep. We combed it, but I had to use an Afro pick. You notice it was an Afro pick. Okay, give him his mic. We were just trying to figure this out. Oh, while he's doing that, Herbie Hancock.
That was an amazing musical interlude.
Wonderful.
Make some noise for that, guys. Make seriously.
Now we all sit.
Yeah. Now I got mine.
And for those of you that stayed up too late at karaoke last night, and sang in the membrane, and sang in the brain.
Pikachu!
Shut up, Ryan Reynolds.
Oh my God, that is incredible. I don't even know how to follow that.
Just lead on, baby.
Just lead on. So you mentioned Mel Brooks. Obviously, he's one of the great.
Mel Brooks, it sounds like Rick and Morty now.
Obviously, one of the great comedy directors of our time. What is his vibe like as a director? Does he get serious in between takes, or is he just all the time constant jokes?
You take this one.
He can get serious. Yeah, but it's all fun on the set. I mean, that Mel is the funniest man alive, and you enjoy every minute of working with him. But he's making a movie, you know, so he wants it to be right. And if It's got to be right. Mel, you know, it's not uncommon to do multiple. You always do multiple takes on a movie, but Mel would do multiple dozens of takes in a movie if you didn't get it right. So yeah, he was a stickler for that, but always great fun.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Remember the time when the studio decided they wanted to initiate one of their young execs, and they sent him down to the set to tell him that he was 4 pages behind? Remember that?
Yeah.
They sent a young, pimple-faced exec, a young MGM exec, to tell Mel Brooks that he was 4 pages behind.
Yeah.
They did that as to initiate the guy, I guess.
That's
in the
right.
group.
Mel ate him for lunch.
Yes, he ate him for lunch, and he goes, "What?" He goes,
Mr. Brooks, the studio wants me to let you know that you're 4 pages behind.
"What? I'm 4 pages behind? Great. Give me the script. Bring it over here. There's your freaking 4 pages. Get off my set."
Oh my God!
And the execs are going, "Ah!" But guess what? We were on time.
Wow, that's incredible.
That really happened. Remember that?
No, that really
I
happened.
believe it. I believe it.
It was great. We were going, "Oh my God, this poor kid." He's probably still going,
Oh my God! I remember the time that Mel Brooks he lipped my face off because I told him he was 4 pages behind.
"That never happened again."
So, this seems like a natural question to ask, but was there much improv allowed on set, or did you
No.
guys- no?
Nothing was improv. Yeah, things would change sometimes, but you didn't change it on your own. It wasn't improv that way. If Mel looked at a scene, and you know, we did that. The scene where there was going to be they were going to redo her nose. That scene had a whole different look to it for the first morning we shot. And Mel said, "I don't like that anymore. We're going to do a completely different scene." So there were changes made on the fly, but they were made by Mel.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were 4 pages behind.
That's right.
Well, obviously another kind of unforgettable part of the film is Rick Moranis and Dark Helmet. Was it difficult to do scenes with that mask on, and like, was it hard to not crack up whenever he spoke in Dark Helmet voice?
Rick, there was a lot of laughter on the set. The problem is that Rick would drop his helmet, so Mel wouldn't see him laughing. And then he'd get me in trouble because I'm laughing and I'm seeing his knees shaking. But Rick was one of the great funny actors you'll ever work with. He was so creative on the set as well, and just an absolute.
He was
comedic
helping him
genius.
direct it, right? Because
Yeah.
Rick was trying to get his DGA certification at that time.
That's right.
So he was getting his DGA certification. So he was like I guess second or assistant director. So he was kind of like in name. So he was helping him because he wanted to get his DGA certification.
So it really was like Scroob and Helmet, like
Yeah.
you can't go
Oh, yeah,
over
yeah.
the helmet. You
Big
know?
time, man.
Number 2.
I mean, believe me, I was supposed to be there for 2 days. I was there 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I was scheduled for 2 days' work, maybe.
4 pages behind, right?
Yeah, right. 4 pages behind.
So how does that work? At the end of 2 days, you're like ready to go home, and they're like, by the way, or is it just like one more day? And
I
then
don't
one
know.
more day?
He just kept he hung on to us. He kept us around because he knew that something was going to come up where he needed us to walk around or walk through a scene. Because remember, you got to have continuity.
Of course.
Usually, there's a script supervisor that says, "Oh, don't forget so and so has to walk through here," because you're in the set. So we're all there, so we have to walk through. You know, your background is just as important as the foreground. The extras are just as important because it's atmosphere. You want it to look like you're on the planet Earth. You've got to have people on the Earth.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's integral part, man. It's fingers, it's a hand.
Very true.
Yeah.
So another one I wanted to ask about. Ever since I was a little kid, I've been obsessed with Pizza the Hut. Do you guys know how the costume was done, and any memories of Dom DeLuise's involvement in the film?
I don't remember, but I know he was delicious. It sounded great. Dom was cool, man. Remember, pizza, if you don't come up with the money, pizza is gonna go order out for you. And remember, in the end, he actually ate himself to death.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
And every time I saw it, I was like, I swear to God, they just smothered pizza all over whoever this guy is in there. I was like,
The guy sitting next to him is eating him.
yeah, I know. You're delicious.
That's right.
I mean,
good.
I would love to make another Mel Brooks movie. Let's put that out there. Mel,
Yes.
we need some work, yo.
Yes.
Wherever
Mel,
you at, Mel.
we know you're watching,
We need some
Mel.
work, man. Just give us something to do. Or I'll write it, and you can produce it. We don't care. We just want some more stuff to do. We want another Mel Brooks movie of some kind.
Speaking of-
Return of Blazing Saddles. I guess nowadays you could make that movie now.
Well, speaking of the possibly working with Mel again, have any of you guys thought about a Spaceballs sequel or a Spaceballs prequel ever over the years?
I get
Pre-balls?
asked that about every third day. I'm sure these guys do. You got to do a sequel. There was a time we were very close to a sequel a few years back, and things fell through. But it does come up. And Mel, recently, as less than a year ago, thought we might still do it. But reality, I don't think it's going to happen at this point. You know, he's not a young man. And when Mel's on the set, Mel is producing, directing, starring in it, writing it. It's a lot of work. And I'm not sure he is ready for that right now. But it's still always talked about. You know, is it possible? Is it possible? And hard to imagine.
Maybe we should do Spaceballs as a podcast.
Oh man, that could be
The
huge.
Ballcast.
Oh,
That
pod
might work.
balls.
That might work.
No, Michael, you know, I think, I heard they're going to make a sequel to it. It's called, he wants to know if Rick Moranis comes out of retirement, he wants to do a sequel called Spaceball 2, Look for More Money.
Yeah, the quest for more money.
Yeah, search for more money.
So,
I might get a lunchbox out of it.
I'm waiting for it. Are you ready?
We gotta find something. We gotta find something to do. We've got to find something to do.
Yeah, waiting
Oh,
for
man,
Mel to
there's
do
so many
another one.
options.
Well, you know, if Keanu Reeves can put out if Keanu can put out Cyberpunk, then we can put out Ballpunk. Something. Space.
Oh my
We
God.
can do something.
You do the Schwartz Awakens.
Oh, God.
You know, the Phantom Schwartz.
The
There's
Schwartz
so
goes to
many.
Denny's.
Oh my God, the Schwartz Strikes Back. Yeah.
The Schwartz makes cheeseburgers in and out of the Schwartz.
Rise of the Lone Star. You know, there's so many options.
So many titles.
You write it and I'll be there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, I'm not kidding. Because nowadays people self-produce their things. You know, people make stuff themselves now. I mean, they're making feature films on the iPhone and on your Samsung and your Galaxy Notes. So, if they can make movies on your cell phone, then we should be able to do something together. Yeah. Something.
Absolutely.
I mean, I just saw the dog in John Wick 3 steal the movie. The dog stole the home. I mean, Halle Berry's doggies were cool, but Keanu Reeves' a bulldog. I mean, that dog stole every single scene he was in. So I'm gonna be a dog.
Wait a minute, we had a half a dog, half a human, right? Barf.
Exactly. He's a
Barf.
Mog. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. He was a Mog.
Yeah.
You know, Chris Farley's brother
Yeah.
he's funny. Chris's brother is really funny.
Kevin Farley?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kevin's cool, man.
That's awesome. That's cool. I've seen him in the documentaries and stuff like that. Never
So
really-
maybe we should break the rules in an organized manner and come up with something.
that's a really solid idea. Shit, put that out there. Seriously.
Ballcast.
It's in the internet lands now. So another
Wait.
one. I love it. So
Wait a second. You don't have to go to the restroom, do you? Wait. Cause I'm the bad guy.
Cause I'm the bad guy.
Thank you, Billy. What the hell is that song about, man? Even Cheech and Chong goes, hey man, I'm stoned, I don't even get it. I don't know what it's about either, man.
that's it's funny. You were in Far Out, man, with Chong. So did you do that?
And
did you
next
do that-
movie.
Did you do that to him on the set?
Yes.
Yes, I love it.
And we made Cheech and Chong's next movie. You know, Cheech and Chong did not work with a script.
They didn't work with the script?
No, they improv the whole movie.
Oh wow, I love Far Out, man, but that kind of explains.
They
a little
improv
bit.
it. That it explains a lot. But Chaplin, that hasn't been done since Chaplin, where you just improv the whole movie. Whereas in Spaceballs, there was room for improv, but you know what? It was structured. He was quite serious. Remember the time that he and the DP were trying to figure out there was a shot missing. I told you it's supposed to be on this side with this camera, but I don't. Winslow, what did I say before? And I went. to shut up. I'm not going to ask you anymore.
So one thing that I've been saying about Spaceballs for a long time, unquestionably one of, if not the most quotable movie ever made. So, and I mean that you can walk into a room anywhere in this world and start a Spaceballs quote, and someone in that room can finish the quote. I was curious what your favorite, if you had a favorite line in the movie, and what fans most frequently quote back at you.
I love the reaps, the sweeps, and the creeps. And everybody keeps asking me where they are. They're in the freezer. Just so that you know.
Hey, Mr. Winslow, what about the bleeps?
In the freezer. With the dry ice pack, okay? But that's the question I get asked all the time. Where are the bleeps?
Wow, I believe it. Yeah. Well, now we know.
Yeah, it's always in the freezer section. Like you go to the supermarket, go to the freezer section. You want shrimp? I didn't know you were into Tex-Mex, yo.
Oh man, incredible. George, Felix, guys' favorite line, movie?
I have no favorite line. He's got all the lines right here.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, just sit next to him,
Yeah.
and you got a whole new bunch of favorite lines.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
I'm the only
doing
person
it.
that can freak out with Robin Williams. Because how do you answer noises? Thank God we had the same improv teacher.
That's amazing.
Harvey Lembeck was great, man.
Really? Same improv teacher? Wow.
But I wasn't in the same class. Nobody wanted to be in Robin's class.
Oh my gosh.
Mr. Happy.
Oh wow.
He didn't want to be in the same class as Robin because he took over.
Oh, bet.
I mean, the teacher would argue with him, and he'd switch languages. He would switch dialects. And
Oh,
the guy
my
go,
God.
"Oh, forget it, youngster." Harvey Lembeck, he was Eric Von Zipper in all the Beach Blanket Bingo movies. That was the improv teacher.
Oh wow. A little lesson in Hollywood here, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that he was Eric. I didn't know he was Eric Von Zipper.
Is there a line that you hear most from fans at signings and stuff like that, Felix? Or?
No, we had a lot of fun running up and down the sands
Yeah.
in Arizona, in Yuma, Arizona. And they had a bunch of people waiting on the dune buggies.
Yes.
And they were waiting for us to get out of there.
Because they wanted to
Yeah,
tear
they
up.
wanted to play so they go up and down, the dunes.
Hey, come on,
that
dudes,
too-
hurry up, get out of the
Yeah.
way so we can tear stuff
Yeah.
up, dudes.
Yes, they couldn't wait for us to get out of there, yeah.
Because they were sitting there literally.
Oh, of
in
course,
lines.
yeah,
Like,
waiting,
in a line
yeah.
of dune buggies.
Yeah. And, we had a lot of fun working in that place. It was really fun work with
But I gotta say,
Yeah.
it was great.
Great
I would
movie.
not have met you, and I would not have.
That's
I
right.
wouldn't have met you, man, if it wasn't for if it wasn't for Mel's,
Yes.
for his generosity.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I got to meet. I got friends.
Space hug.
I got friends that I love,
guys
man.
doing?
I
I
got
don't take
people.
my wallet.
I haven't seen them. I haven't seen you all in years.
Grabbing my wallet. I saw you going. what
It's
do you
okay. I'm not Penn and Teller. Or Chris Angel Mind Freak.
And George, you have a favorite line in the movie?
Well, I think there's a couple that I get asked about or copied and repeated to me. When is this happening? It's happening now, the now scene.
Of course.
Which was a great favorite of Mel's, I have to say, which put a lot of pressure on it for Rick and I,
Oh, yeah.
when we did it. But we had great fun shooting that scene. And so people like to run through that whole sequence. And then people love to come up and ask me if I'm chicken, Colonel Sanders.
Of course.
And I clear my throat and say, that's right. But there were a lot. That "May the Schwartz be with you" is nothing I ever said, but that's one of the favorite quotes, certainly from the show.
Spaceballs has had an effect on modern society. I know Star Wars has had an effect on modern culture, but Spaceballs had an effect on manufacturing in modern society. Remember Ludicrous Speed?
Yeah, ludicrous speed. Was,
In a Tesla, you can actually order it in ludicrous mode.
I've heard of that.
There is a setting for speed in a Tesla called ludicrous mode. There is a real ludicrous mode. And they were going to, for the new ones, they were going to do a plaid mode, but they took it out.
well, it's true.
weren't
And
good.
I will say, when we shot that scene, Mel said, all right, I want your face to look like you're in ludicrous speed. I said, I don't know what the hell you're talking. I mean, what do you mean, Mel? Just pull your face back. Do it, And I wasn't in ludicrous speed, but I was scared to death that Mel was going to eat me if I didn't do this. I said, Rick, are you ready? So I was doing this and rehearsing it in private and trying to get my mouth pulled back. It wasn't easy. But Mel scared the hell out of us, so we did it right.
Wow.
It was fun, man. So basically, Spaceballs has had an effect on modern society.
Oh, for sure. It'd be so funny if Spaceballs became like the next Jules Verne thing, that all that stuff comes true before Star Wars, right?
Look what happened Back to the Future.
People go plaid and like there's like Schwartz rings and Mega Maids.
It's early. Give it time.
We start stealing air from other planets. That could all come true.
Don't laugh. That might actually happen.
That's actually scary.
Yes, Perrier. Remember the can of Perrier?
Oh, the best. The way he hits the Perriers like with such enthusiasm.
Well, I did that in Cheech and Chong's next movie with a Coca-Cola can. You'll have to look at it on YouTube. It's called Cheech and Chong next movie, Welfare Office. Yeah, Dana, yeah.
Oh my God.
Killing me. It's Lord of the Rings. This way, you fools.
Gandalf!
My precious.
I love it. Space Golem. So I'll do one more before we turn it over to the audience. And one thing I didn't appreciate that much about Spaceballs until I got older was how amazingly good the special effects were. Were you guys surprised when ILM did the effects? And
We were honored.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I guess George saw it and he liked the whole premise. He said, you know what? I'll do all your stuff for you. Because he said, you know what? You actually went to the trouble to really do it. Respect, even though it's funny. Yeah. It's not mean.
Right.
It was just, so he said, you know what? Why not?
Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't know if they could do that now because Disney owns Lucasfilm. I don't know. I would love to see it happen, but there have to be some licensing issues and some things worked out. Would be nice.
Well, touching on licensing issues, actually, real quick, I'm sure you guys are aware that there was the one caveat George had, I think, in agreeing to do Spaceballs was that no toys would be made. Right. So if somehow that got lifted, what kind of Spaceballs, like toys or merch or action figures, would you really want to see?
Mine.
Colonel Sanders action figure?
Yeah. The hell with the rest of them. Just Colonel Sanders.
Just Colonel Sanders. Did Rick Moranis have a Colonel Sanders doll that he played with?
I was his Colonel Sanders doll.
Yes.
Wow, that's a good question. Well, I remember how Apple Records licensed Apple the rights to use iTunes, and it's only on the condition you don't get into records. Oops.
Yeah.
And now Apple's bigger than Apple Records. I never thought that would happen.
Oh, I know, right? How crazy is that?
Wow, talk about a paradigm shift.
Yeah, for sure.
It is a paradigm shift, isn't it? If it was from Liverpool, I never would have thought it would be like that then. What do you think, Paul? Yeah, I think the same thing then. You've never been to Liverpool, have you?
Hey, are Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman still want to kill each other? Good. They should do a black version, Dreadpool, yeah. Dreadpool.
Oh my God, that's out in the ether now.
What happens if Pikachu shows up in the next Deadpool movie? Is it gonna be Pikapool or Dead Chew? I'm going for Dead Chew.
Oh my God. Well, I don't want to be too selfish with the questions here. I do want to give the audience a chance
Audience
to
questions.
get in there. Guys, anyone got any questions for this amazing cast here? Got one right up here. Just try and be loud if you can. Scariest law firm commercial you've ever seen?
The ones where they're dead serious about what they do. Oh, I know. The ones that are serious about,
We will take care of you no matter what happens. You don't pay unless we win. Then we take it all.
Does anyone want to weigh in on the scariest law firm commercials you've ever seen?
Oh, I think they're all terrifying.
They're all pretty terrifying.
Yeah, no, but he's right. The ones where they really are acting, those are the scariest.
I think the more specific they are, the scarier they are to me. Like, have you or a loved one been hurt by a plane accident caused with cancer surgery on the 11th of November on an international flight?
Do you
It's
have
like,
a boil
how
in
many
your left
people has
knee
that
because your
happened to?
butt was not capable of being aromatic? Yes, do you have a boil in your left knee because your butt was not aromatic? Call us now!
What?
She did. She memorized the whole thing? Our audience is telling us about stuff. What's your question? Let's get her a microphone.
Yeah, it's there. Can we
Yeah,
reach
go ahead,
this
get her a
out? Let me see if
microphone,
I can
man.
get out
Go
there.
ahead.
Ready? If you or a loved one has mesothelioma, call now. Many manufacturers sell deadly asbestos products to thousands of companies putting workers at risk. An estimated $30 billion have been set aside to pay asbestos victims. You may be entitled to financial compensation. For your free legal consultation, call 1-800-485-8989. That's 1-800-485-8989.
Get this girl a check.
Let me write it down. Hang on. I'm going to write that down. The question, hang on, let me write this out. The question she asked was, my pen's broken. Gotta get a Sharpie. What was your question?
It was the scariest law firm commercials. It was what the scariest law firm commercials were, and then she just did she recited the.
So
mesothelioma.
everybody has their own local law firms. They have their own local commercials. I think they should have a SmackDown where you have all the different law firms bring their commercial people and have them do it in the ring, man.
Like the legal rumble.
Yeah, legal rumble.
Yes.
A legal rumble in the jungle with insurance.
I love it. So, do we have any other audience questions, guys? Bonus if they're about Spaceballs, but they don't have to be. That's all right. I have plenty more. I could go all day on these. So one thing I've kind of noticed about Spaceball is that it seems to grow even more beloved over time.
Yeah.
Was there ever a point where you realized, like 10 years, 15 years later, like, wow, this thing is maybe bigger now than when it came out?
Yeah, kind of like Charlie Sheen with the tiger blood. Winning! I said hello to Charlie yesterday, but I should have grabbed a microphone and said, "Hey, Sheen!"
Kitty's hungry.
Usually when I do that, all the cats in the neighborhood go,
Oh my God, you do the MGM line. Perfect.
I actually did that for a college professor. She asked me to do that. There was a doctor. She was a speech therapist, and she wanted to know how close the human voice could come to the primitive voices of animals. So she had me sit there and make the noises of a tiger, an alligator, and a couple other things to see how close. I got like 92. I tested it. I was in Italy, staying at some friends of mine's house, and they had a rabbit upstairs. And they had cats as well, so they always had to keep them separate. So every day, it was a protected cage. Every day that cat would go up the stairs to try to get to that rabbit. Well, not that week, because I would do that tiger noise. And it would drove that cat crazy, because the primitive instincts came out on the cat. Yeah. And because it was an old, Italian villa in the southeast, there was lots of marble and stone, so that sound bounced off the walls. Kind of like here, so it's... And the cat's like...
What the fuck?
Oh my God.
So it works.
Well, I gotta practice that.
Please do.
I'm gonna have to work on it. I have to get a Behringer at the house.
And you can also do wet feet.
The wet feed gets me every time. Guys, do you have any recollection of realizing later on that Spaceballs was a classic?
We're still scratching our heads about that one.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us, you don't when you make a film, expected this kind of longevity to go on and on and on with your film. I realized that when fathers would bring their children up, and the children had seen the movie, and the fathers, and now it's grandfathers, it seems like. So it does have a lot, and Mel said that too. He'd never had a movie that had this kind of life expectancy. You know, movies, everyone holds on to their movies, but this one just never goes away.
Yeah.
And that was a surprise, I think, for all of us, and a wonderful surprise.
Oh, definitely.
Young Frankenstein was one thing, but this is something else.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Spaceballs is on an incredibly different level. Actually, I'm curious one for Felix, actually, since you had worked on Star Wars films and Spaceballs, do you ever, see George at like a Star Wars event or anything like that and start chatting up about Spaceballs?
I got to see George Lucas, Mr. Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
I did a movie called Indiana Jones, The Temple of Dooms.
Right.
I was doubling a little kind of short run. I was on the film for about 6 months. And George was kind of a shy person.
Yep.
He's always in the back, unless you talk about money, right? And then George is a lot different than Steven Spielberg. Spielberg is like, he could talk to you, have a conversation.
More extroverted.
Yes. Spielberg, one day we were at the set early in the morning, and he looked at me and said, Felix, if you were this much shorter, I will use you on a second E.T., in which I'm still waiting. Mm-hmm. It never came, right?
Oh,
But like I said, George, I mean, he's, way in the background. And 40 years ago, we did Buck Rogers. Who 40 years later, who's going to talk about it soon? I never dreamed about you get to talk about, Buck Rogers or Spaceball 4 years later, So I never thought of
I remember all that, man.
Right.
What a body.
The first time Twiggy saw Colonel Deering, he goes,
What a body.
Yeah.
and the audience in the theater went, whoa!
And you know who was that? Huh? Mel Blanc. Mel Blanc, yes.
Mel Blanc did the voice
Yeah.
of Twiggy.
Twiggy, yeah.
Hey, Buck.
Yeah.
That was Mel Blanc, man.
Mel Blanc, yes.
You didn't know that was Mel.
Not too many people know it.
Yeah.
Second year they changed
I knew
it.
the voice.
So,
I knew that voice. I said, oh my God.
oh yeah, the best. You can't find it better than Mel
See,
Blanc.
it's amazing how it's almost like family. It's like cousins. We all know each other.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Especially when it comes to production, you'd be surprised how many folks know each other through other things.
Oh, totally, yeah. Yeah, small industry.
Yes. Well, Adam's family, to me, it was like a family.
Yep.
I mean, everybody got along with each other. There's a lot of professionalism in there. The Carolyn Jones and John Aston. What's his name? The grandpa. What's his name? The old guy. Jackie Coogan. We're all like a family. Everybody got along with each other.
That's awesome.
No. Nothing went on like a scream at each other.
Everybody-
They knew what they were going to do for that day.
It was because they were family, man.
Yeah.
We knew
Yes,
everybody
it's
knew
like
what we were doing.
You enjoy to go to work because you get together just as a family.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
But I found now it's different. Like the director, they don't know what they want to do. And they scream. That's right. There's no
Yeah.
good writers.
It's
no good
hard,
ideas.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Nobody writes old school style no more.
Yeah.
There's no comedy.
There's amazing directors and actors out there and stuff, but I agree that the
Today's
writing
movies,
is not what it used to be.
if it doesn't fart, explode, catch on fire, fly through the air, or morph into a creature, it isn't written.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true.
And this is the women's films. Wow.
So we are almost out of time, but I do want to ask one more before
Yes.
we get a chance. You mentioned family and stuff like that, and obviously there's quite an extended family of Spaceballs fans around the world, and you've gotten to spend some time with some of them this weekend. I was curious, either here or in general at other conventions, what is the best Spaceballs cosplay you've seen? Fans coming up in Spaceballs costumes. What are some of the most impressive ones you guys have seen?
Well, Dragon Con was out there.
Yeah?
The year that I went Dragon Con, that's insane because
Oh, yeah.
the Dragon Con stuff was nuts because everybody was dressing up as Johnny Depp,
Oh, okay.
as Jack Sparrow. So there were contingents of like 150 pirates.
Oh, my
Then there
God.
were like the Stormtrooper chapter for Atlanta. They were there, so there's 100 of them.
Oh, wow.
So we had a parade at 9 in the morning, and all the pirates are stumbling around because they're really drunk for real. They really were drunk, and they were stumbling around. And then you had the stormtrooper come in. The pirates wanted to fight the stormtroopers, and the stormtroopers wanted to fight the Klingons, and the Klingons wanted to fight the pirates. So we kept going. We better start the parade early. Just get them marching so they won't fight each other. And of course, Eric Estrada was the Grand Marshal of that parade. So what he would do is he would get on his motorcycle, and he would ride around the pirates and get them really angry. And then he'd go around the stormtroopers, get them really angry, and then he'd go around the front. Let's march!
You know, Michael, the first Dragon Con that I did in Atlanta, I saw a guy walking towards me dressed like Barf, John Candy.
Yeah.
I swear, I thought it was him. I thought it was real. I mean, the costume was terrific.
They'll spend thousands of
Beautiful
dollars on these costumes.
costumes.
And you know what? Props to all of you.
Hey,
Yeah.
the best
Oh
costumes
my God.
are
Those
right
amazing
there
ladies.
that any of us have ever seen. They're right over there. They're remarkable.
Oh my God. Okay, we gotta let Dark Helmet ask a question here.
Yes, we still
Nice.
Do you still fear the ring?
Oh, of course. But luckily, I've got a
the
deflector
ring.
dish right here. I've got a deflector dish.
That costume is amazing. Incredible.
Well done, because there's thousands of dollars on these costumes folks will spend. I mean, the Wonder Woman stuff and the Batman stuff. I saw a guy who was 400 pounds, had a custom Batman tailored suit, and he was 400 pounds, and he looked good.
Wow, good for him.
So, you know, hey,
Some of the costume look better than the one made
in the movies, some of the
studio. I mean,
costumes
these
people make are
people
better
go
than the ones in the features.
all the way
Oh,
out
yeah,
to
I'll bet.
spend a lot of money to make these
Exactly.
costumes.
They,
Yeah.
they did that when that one X-Men movie was coming out. I can't remember which one it was, but I think it was Apocalypse or something like that. And they showed people at conventions. They're like, this looks better than the movie version they just showed. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, it's crazy. So George, any favorite Spaceballs costume you've seen by fans?
You know, actually, I can't remember more than just people coming up with a hat on or something, you know, like that. I mean, honestly, I know we just referenced it, but these costumes are just remarkable.
Amazing, right?
And we did it yesterday. We had pictures with them, and they have my entire uniform as well. And I hadn't been in one in all these years, so it was fun to get back into it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
And you look good, too, man.
Hell yes. Hell
It took years of work to get me
Be able to
looking that
squeeze
way.
it back into that.
training like Rocky style.
I can still barely fit into my police academy uniform. I can still fit in there.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Of course, I had to move the buttons around, but we're good. We're okay. Time flies when you're having none.
All right, guys. Well, we are unfortunately just about out of time. So be sure to stop by their table, come get some autographs, get some pictures. I know they have many, many, many more amazing stories to tell you. And give these guys an amazing round of applause.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.